Hello everyone, I hope you are well and welcome back to another 4D Systems tutorial. In today's tutorial, I'll take you through the basics of how to set up and animate your own custom gauge in the Workshop 4 IDE to build this battery gauge. Let's get started. For today's project, I'll be using a pixxiP2 with capacitive touch and cover lens bezel. This is one of our smaller, round displays, which are ideal for displaying essential information and user interaction. The pixxiLCD series is flash-based, meaning you do not need an SD card and can simply send your program straight to the screen. To connect the display to my PC, I'll also be using a Gen 4 UPA breakout board and a flex cable connector. Over to Workshop 4, we can start building the display. The main focus of this is going to be a round gauge in the middle, which will look nice and complement the round shape of the display. So let's start building the main part of the program, which is the gauge. To create my own gauge, I'm going to go over to the Widgets menu, select the Gauge tab, and then drag in a Smart Gauge onto the display. For this project, this will be the only widget that we need, and it will cover the entirety of the screen. Thanks to the Smart Widget editor, it's really easy to be able to display and communicate all of the information that I need simply using this one widget. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that the Smart Gauge is selected in the Object Inspector. And then I'm going to go down and select the config option here. If you haven't saved your project by now, Workshop 4 will prompt you to save it. After you have saved your project, the Smart Widget editor will pop up. In this window, you can control and configure your own graphics to behave in whatever way you would like. A quick tip for this is to design your graphics using a file that is the same resolution as the display. This will mean you don't have to adjust the graphics once they are imported, and instead they will be easily configurable. The specs and resolution of your display can be found on the product page and datasheet on our website. So to start building the battery gauge, I'm first going to import the base image. From here, I'm going to scale down the graphic so it's easier to work with. Then over to the right side, this is where I can add all of the other layers. On layer 1, I'm going to enable it and import the graphics I've labeled cover A and cover B, which are just fill colors. I'm going to give this layer 1 frame, and I'm also going to place this layer below the face. Onto layer 2, I'm going to again enable this layer, and this time I'm going to import the main color fill for the gauge, which is the blue bar, which will be rotating as the value of the gauge is increasing. After the graphic is imported, I'm going to give it 100 frames, which will mean the battery value will be moving between 0 to 100. Now the only thing I want this graphic to do is rotate. I don't want it to pan left to right or up and down. So I'm going to set its reference point and its X and Y values all aligned to the center. When their min and max values are set to the same, it will be locked along that axis, which means when I set the min and max degree or the rotation value, which in this case is 28 and 331, it will be spinning from the center axis, which you can see after I have linked the groups and as I scroll through the frames. This layer is also where I'll be enabling the numeric part or the number that will be displaying the value of the gauge. When enabling this option, it is linked to the layer that it's enabled on. So if I were to go back to layer 1 and try to use this option here, it would not work as there is only one frame on this layer. So just be mindful of that. The last thing to do here is to also set the location of this layer relative to the face below as well. Finally, onto layer 3, this is another static color layer. This will sit at the very bottom of the program. So again, I'll set its location below the face image. The last thing to check is that the linked group option is ticked for layers 1, 2, and 3. And then the gauge is complete. From here, if any minor adjustments are needed, such as scaling or placement, I can make them and finalize the widget. I'm happy with it, so now I'm going to press OK and the gauge will be displayed on the screen. The final step for this program is to write the code. It's really simple, so let me take you through it quickly. This code essentially animates the gauge to display different values. I have the main setup like declaring the display and project name. Then the smart gauge is being shown when Form 1 is launched. And then the main animation loop increases the gauge's value from 0 to 100. And finally, it goes back from 100 down to 0. There is then a pause for 1 second and the program loops. And that is all. The code is that simple. So now from here, I can go over to the project tab. And since this is a Pixie display, I'm going to make sure Flash is selected. I can then go back to home and flash the program to the display. And the project is finished and uploaded to the screen. That is it for this project. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, please visit the 4D Systems Resource Center. And if you would like to take a look at the pixxiLCD series used in this video or any of our other products, make sure to head over to our website 4dsystems.com.au. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more projects and tutorials. See you next time.